What's going on, you guys? This is Tech HD coming at you with a brand new video, and today we're going to be taking a look at a budget monitor from BenQ. So if you guys have been with my channel for a while, then you know that I have reviewed a good amount of BenQ monitors, but the problem is that they are quite expensive, going from $450 to $700. So today we're going to be taking a look at the EW2780, and this monitor goes for around $180. So we're going to see what it offers and see what's lacking to be that low of a price. So taking a look at what comes in the box, you get the quick start guide and some other documents. You also get an HDMI cable, the power adapter, the wall connection, the stand, and finally the metal base. Taking a look at the ports of the monitor, you have the power port, 3 HDMI ports, and a headphone port. There's also a left and right speaker that offers 2.5 watts equaling to 5 watts total, and it's powered by BenQ's Trevolo audio. The monitor is also VESA mounted. On the bottom you have a power button that's also an indicator light, the close button, menu button, 2 custom buttons, and the volume button. You also have the HDRi button on the bottom right, and in the middle there is an ambient lighting sensor for the brightness intelligent plus feature. To install the base is very easy. Just like any other BenQ monitor I reviewed, you just have to install the arm first and screw it in with a Phillips screwdriver. Then you apply the base, and it has a thumb screw so you can easily tighten it, and you're basically done. Taking a look at the specs, the EW2780 is a 27-inch IPS panel that has a 1080p resolution. It has a brightness of 250 nits, has a refresh rate of 75 Hz, a response time of 5 milliseconds. The color gamut is only at 72% NTSC, but it also claims to support HDR10, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Taking a look at the body of the monitor, I really like that it's an all matte finish and nothing is glossy. I also really like how thin the monitor actually is. Looking at it from the side, you could really notice it, and I do like that it has a very little bezel with just a little bit of a chin. I also do like that the build quality is no different from any of the higher end monitors. There is still the metal base, which I really like, and it's gray instead of bronze, so it blends with the setup better in my opinion. Now, one of the key features that the EW2780 offers is HDRi, and I covered more on this in previous BenQ monitor reviews, but to sum it up, it's combining both HDR and Brightness Intelligence Plus to create a better version of HDR. HDR displays a broader range of color and contrast, resulting in a more vivid, realistic image, and details are more refined and images appear more accurate. Brightness Intelligence Plus will adjust the brightness and shadows automatically by using the ambient sensor on the monitor, so you will get a clearer image, and combined with HDR, you will also get better colors without straining your eyes, so you can receive the best image quality. Now, a couple things different is that this only offers 3 presets, which are Cinema HDRi, HDR, and Off. Other monitors like the EX2780Q and the EW3280U offers more presets like Game HDRi and Display HDRi. It's not a big deal, but something to just mention, so here are a couple examples of different presets to use while watching something. Now let's talk about the audio that the EW2780 has to offer. It has a left and right speaker on the back, and each speaker offers 2.5 watts equaling to 5 watts total, and is powered by Trevolo audio, which improves the treble, mid-range, and bass. And there are 3 presets as well, which are live/pop, dialogue/vocal, and cinema, which again is less than what the EX2780Q and the EW3280U offers. They also offer game and rock/party. So now that we talked a little bit about the audio, let's take a quick listen of the different presets in different scenarios.
Fatality. Scorpion wins. Flawless victory. Fatality. Scorpion wins. Flawless victory. Fatality. Scorpion wins. Flawless victory. Bring it back now.
Of course, this is only a 60Hz panel, so console gaming is fine, but I wouldn't recommend it for PC gaming. But it does the job if you would like to play every once in a while. Of course, this is only a 60Hz panel, so console gaming is fine, but I wouldn't recommend it for PC gaming. But it does the job if you would like to play every once in a while. Of course, this is only a 60Hz panel, so console gaming is fine, but I wouldn't recommend it for PC gaming. But it does the job if you would like to play every once in a while. So I've been testing this monitor for weeks for both gaming and as a monitor screen to replace my laptop screen, and I've really liked it because it's very simple and minimalistic. For a 1080p screen, everything is still sharp and the colors are nice and accurate when gaming and watching a movie or a show. If you just want to upgrade from an old monitor or a TV and are not looking to spend a lot and have some up-to-date specs, then this is a good option. But I do want to talk about what it's lacking from the more expensive monitors that BenQ offers and what is different. Some of these are going to be nitpicking and others are more important to talk about, so let's go over the nitpicking things first. There are less audio and video presets, which is not that big of a deal because I know most people aren't going to use the audio presets and are instead going to connect better speakers or use headphones. I personally don't use the built-in speakers, but I do use the video presets. I would have liked for them to personally add the game audio and video preset for people that are into gaming. I think it's something that is lacking and is excluding the gaming community. The base and ARM doesn't have a cable management feature, which is not that big of a deal in my opinion because I also know that some people are going to mount the monitor instead, which is something that I will personally be doing after this review. I'm just glad that they didn't get rid of the VESA mount option. The ports are on the back of the monitor instead of on the bottom, which is a personal preference which I don't care about, but what I do care about is that there is no display port or a USB Type-C port, so this monitor isn't so up to date. The monitor only supports up to 1080p at 75Hz, so even though 1080p is still used a lot, it is slowly not being the standard compared to 1440p and 4K. And having support of only 75Hz is also no longer being a standard, having other monitors support 120 to 240Hz. Now, one of the major things that I do want to point out is that if you are planning on using the built-in speakers to make your setup more minimalistic, in my opinion, having the speakers on the back does make a big difference in audio quality when watching movies or playing video games. I was able to notice that, and also 5 watts is very little, but it doesn't sound distorted when the volume is raised, but I would have liked for them to have bigger speakers and more watts to make up for being on the back. My other major con is that this monitor claims that it supports HDR10, but the color bit is 8-bit, and I've had difficulties with both my Xbox One X and my computer streaming content that I know supports HDR10. On the Xbox One X, when I go into the settings, I am able to enable to support HDR10, but when I load up games that I know support HDR10 like Modern Warfare and Mortal Kombat, I am not able to enable it, or it tells me that the monitor doesn't support it. When I connect my laptop to the monitor and go to either Netflix or Disney Plus to play a movie that I know supports HDR10, the same thing occurs. It does not show any option to enable HDR10, or it just doesn't change the HDR. I'm not fully sure what the reason for that could be, but when I go on the PS4 Pro and load up a game that supports HDR10 like Spider-Man and God of War, it changes to support HDR10, so now I know that it actually works, and at least, but the PS4 Pro to be the only thing to support it is kind of weird. I've done everything in the settings that I could, but I couldn't figure it out. Overall, for the price of the EW2780 being under $200, I like what it has to offer, and what it's lacking is not that big of a deal. And I know most people won't care about the audio and video presets, the stand not being height adjustable or having cable management. Some will care about the lack of a DisplayPort and a USB Type-C port, and that it can only support up to 1080p, but that's when you need to consider to spend more money for what you want. And if you don't care about that HDR10 issue, then this is a great option if you're on a budget. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and if you guys do have any questions or concerns, please let me know. And like I said, everything will be linked down in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so that you guys can be notified whenever I upload a new video. Follow me on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. As always, TechHD. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!